really bad violation. And I want to educate those victims to know that it takes one little thing, it takes one drive-by where they can immediately alert the court, not just law enforcement, but the court. And these are the kinds of things that I think that there is a two-way education process that I would love to make myself available for. So let me give you my email right now so that I can sign up for this. It's sfbdmms@newmexicocourts.gov.
Thank you. Thank you for responding to my provocative question. Now the floor is open, so it's going to be hard for everybody to answer every question, so we'll just see how we can do this.
Thank you very much for coming. Other than working for the police department, I sit on different boards, and one of them is the Santa Fe Red Cross and Trauma Treatment Center. I'm one of the board of directors. And this question is actually for my sheriff candidate. What is your position as far as working closely with the board and the center or other nonprofit organizations such as Esperanza or the coalition and so forth?
I think with regards to Esperanza or the rape crisis and trauma center, one of the things that we've done, and the sheriff has been very supportive of the rape crisis and trauma center. We have to obtain funding, not only for the Santa Fe area, but they were willing, the trauma center is to go statewide. Because one of the things you see here is domestic violence. We look at the community, but we don't look at the internal officers. They go through this too, and they come in, and at times we contract to bring in training for our officers with regards to how to deal with it, because they take it home. So we've been very supportive. We'll continue to be supportive in any way, shape, or form. So you have our commitment to assist in any way, shape, or form.
I can't cover much more than what Mr. Garcia stated. If I was elected, you would have continued support 100% with any of the organizations involved in this, because it's very important that these people receive the treatment and care and support of everybody involved. The training, I would ensure that there is complete training in these areas so that the officers know and understand how these people feel when they go in to handle these calls, so that they can treat them in a humane and kind way. I guess that would be a word to try and help them and guide them in the right path and walk them through, get them through the help that they need. But there would be total support of the organization.
I too would like to see the continued support that the Sheriff's Department currently offers. I would like to make it a point to, or one of my administrators serves on the board along with herself and be more involved in that aspect. I know there's a lot of tools that can be utilized with rape crisis and safe house interview and whatnot. And I don't know if that's currently being done, and I hope it is. But I would like to take that advantage of that, those tools and those resources that the Santa Fe Rape Crisis and other entities, as you mentioned, have to offer to the Sheriff's Department. So I would be 100% fully supportive.
Other questions? Yes.
First, I want to thank all of you to be here. My first question is actually to all of the members. When you are faced with an abuser and a victim, and a lot of abusers play the role of the victim, how do you go about knowing the difference? Do you send them to couples counseling? What is it that you do or will be doing?
Okay, if we respond to a case, and I'm sure they'll agree with me here, is you're not going to interview a victim with a suspect. You're not going to. You separate. You separate. You also have to look beyond the abuser and the victim. You have to look beyond that and see, are there children in the home? The probable cause, when a deputy response. If there is signs that violence has taken place, a battery, action will be taken. Action will be taken. No victim should fall through the cracks. And I understand it does happen. Hopefully with the added Judicial District judges on the bench, that will prevent that. But we never communicate with a victim and a suspect in the same place. You separate them and you identify your victim and you take care of the person. In some cases, men are the victims, not in all. Not majority are female. But in some cases you have that. But you use the resources available to assist that victim. And children in the home, making sure the children are taken care of. And in a lot of cases, a child, in my interview, now we go to safe houses. In my days, back in the early 80s, we would sit down with a child and communicate. And I remember my colleague here from CYFD back here, I hadn't seen him in a while, still looks very well. We used to conduct interviews of the victims, the child. Now, we have, I guess, professionals, because we were never trained. So now we have professionals through Safe House that conduct this very professional interviews. And the reason I say that is because when you talk to a child will not lie to you. A child will not lie. They might hesitate to tell you what happened, but in most cases, a child will tell you, yes, Dad hit Mom. But they will say that. So you have to go beyond that. Separating and making sure the children are safe and your victim is safe.
Can we just have a judicial candidate respond? I'm actually more interested in you hearing the range of questions they have, rather, because we'll only get like one question before we have to end. Is that okay? Sorry to cut you off. Is there a judicial candidate who wants to respond?
I'll respond to that. In fact, that question was sort of asked at the court watch training I did last night about how do you know if you have the perpetrator coming in with a petition for an order of protection, which I think is kind of what you were getting at. And that would happen frequently, and that's why training is so important, because just because someone's the petitioner doesn't mean that they're the victim. And there are lots of different types of perpetrators, and one of the perpetrators that you learn to deal with when you work in domestic violence, I'm sure you know, is the one that comes in that's very comfortable in the courtroom, that is as good as, if not better than some of our best trial attorneys in the courtroom, that is has no allegiance to telling the truth whatsoever, and who by just one look may intimidate the victim into a pool of jelly. So after a while, with experience, you can pretty much identify those by sight within about the first 3 seconds of when they walk in the courtroom. But it did take me some time to understand that, because here you have someone who can speak and communicates very beautifully, and you have a victim who's looking down at the floor curled up in a ball and can't say anything and is shaking. And then you have to look at yourself and say, my duty here is to conduct a fair hearing, and there's not due process happening here, and then try to figure out what to do, which is something that Esperanza really helped me with. That was one of the major issues I struggled with at the very beginning, and that's why we have advocates in the courtroom and a lot of other things available. But that is something that is just learned by experience, I think, in training, is to know when that's happening.
And Rubel promises a short response.
Yes. Your question was to separate, be able to identify the victim and the defender, correct? Okay, well, I think that has to do with training and experience. If the officer that responds to these calls knows how to handle these particular calls, is a trained observer and able to ask the right questions and see the body language and all that as a whole, he or she is able to find that out. But it takes a really trained officer, because it's tricky. You go out to these calls and I'm the victim, but I'm really the offender, and they play that role sometimes. So it takes a really highly trained individual, an officer, experience to identify those.
What other questions?
I'd like to respond.
Okay. You're all going to have to respond.